Okay, so give me a little bit about your background.
So my background is I played basketball my entire life. I played basketball at Schaumburg High School. Took a few years off, and I ended up coming to Elgin Community College to play 2 years, and then I went on to play 3 more years at Jefferson University.
All right. So you can talk about yourself. I mean, you got some awards there, sir. Let them know who this guy is, because I don't think people understand this guy's a killer across from me.
I've won a couple all conference awards, an all region award.
So, since you've been playing ball, have you seen any major changes in sports? And then, if so, how did you have to tailor your game to be able to participate still?
So I think that the biggest change in, in basketball was that when I was growing up, centers. If you were big and tall, like you were the center, you weren't going out on the arc. You belonged in the paint, and you were to like grab rebounds and just be a post player.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for me personally, I was actually probably ahead of the game because I was never a post player. I was always kind of like a stretch four nowadays or whatever. But back then, that wasn't really accepted. And I
Mm-hmm.
know in high school, I got benched a lot because my coach wanted me to be a post player, and I really wasn't. But yes, but nowadays the game has changed to where there's a lot more freedom, and bigs are it's more acceptable for bigs to get out there and shoot, and they're encouraged to shoot. And nowadays, is if you can't shoot or you can't move, you
Mm-hmm.
know, more like a forward at least,
Yeah.
you're not going to play. I mean, so it's almost the opposite of
Mm-hmm.
how it used to be.
Yeah. And one thing I'll add to that, and the reason I wanted to get into that subject is Stan Van Gundy has a real good clip out where he was saying that, we can't produce enough athletes here in the United States that can dribble, pass, and shoot at all height ranges. It has to be if you're big, you stick on the court. If you're this, you have to do this. Or if you're taller than any player on the team, not only stand under the court, give the ball to a guard and just run and stand under the court again. Like so, it's like you're not helping these skill sets that you're saying that these young men and women need, but you're helping win yourself games in the temporary. You're not governing the kid so that way they can maximize all of the talent that could be there, and then you're not providing them with that positive reinforcement either. So it's a lot of that too.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like I mean, I feel like just coaches at younger ages they put such a priority on winning
Mm-hmm.
that like you don't like think about developing the player for future skills or for future development. They're just out there to try to win the now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and really when you're playing at that age, younger ages, you should be trying to develop the kids to be as good and as versatile as possible,
Exactly.
as opposed to just trying to tell like, hey, just stand here and put the ball in. Like that's not making anybody better.
Exactly. So, do you think parents have enough information when it comes to athletics?
I do not think that they have enough information, or at least enough of like good, accurate information. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like there's a lot of information out there from just a bunch of different sources, and it's not always like good information. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like parents don't necessarily know, what to believe, or what's good information, what's bad information. So I mean, just not knowing, what the good information is, and then they're getting so much information that isn't relevant or isn't good or isn't useful at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like that. I mean, that just leads to them just not knowing, enough, or not knowing what's good.
Mm-hmm. Or even where to seek said information. I think that's
Yeah,
the main thing too, because I get to help people, but if you can't seek or you don't know this is what you need, then what can
yeah.
you really do?
You don't know what you don't know.
So now I want you to talk about your just recruiting experience, just the whole way through. Just give people a synopsis of what that looks like, some of the places you've been, not necessarily coaches you've talked to, but just some of the places you've been.
So out of high school, I only had one Division III offer. It was just they sent a letter to my coach. My coach handed me the letter. Um, I didn't have any interest out of high school to play college ball, so I didn't look too much into it. When I came to ECC, it was just because Coach Reed texted me, asked me if I wanted to play, and then after I played here, I was getting a lot of offers across multiple levels, and they would contact the coaching staff and whatnot, and they'd let me know, and I went on visits. I stayed typically around the area. I think I visited a school in Missouri, Ohio, Wisconsin, and then I also had a D2 visit in West Virginia, where they flew me out. They paid for the flight and everything. They paid for all my meals down there. Spent 3 days out there. They showed me the campus and kind of like the lifestyle out there. And it was a fun experience because you get to see these new places, all these different schools. Kind of got to play against each team and kind of the different levels of competition. It was a good experience, and then ultimately I just decided to stay home and go to school right down the street.
All right. In your opinion, how do we push athletics forward?
I think the best way to push athletics forward would probably be to get the understanding out there to parents that athletics is they're just so important to individuals, and athletics, they don't just affect you on the court or whatnot, like they affect you in life. Being disciplined and working hard and sacrificing for the betterment of the team, or sacrifice for your skill, those are all skills that translate to jobs and into life in general, and even being a parent or whatnot. So I think just giving the understanding that if you get your kid into sports or whatever, they're learning all these skills, and then competition's good for people too. If you don't have no competition, you're not going to get any better.
Yeah.
And again, that's not just like a sports, that's just a life reference. If you're not trying to get better, you're not trying to be competitive with other people, you're not going to improve.
Right.
So I think just getting people to understand kind of the correlation between the two. And then even and at all levels too. It's not just if you go to D1, NAIA has good even D3 is good competitor. So it doesn't matter what level you're at. You're still going to get all the benefits from that.
Yep.
So
most people don't understand that from the outside looking in, if you're fortunate enough to play college athletics, on the basketball side, I can't quote all the numbers for everything else, but you're typically about the 3% that are able to play at this level and actually go somewhere with the level. And most people don't think that it's that small, minute number that have what it takes to actually compete at this level. Sure, there are other people, but like you just said, if they don't have all that requisite knowledge, it's just going to be wasted energy.
yeah, and it's a lot different than high school too.
Mm-hmm.
High school, I know from my high school team, I think I might have been the only guy to go play college ball.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at one or two players from high school teams that go in advance.
Yeah.
And again, it don't matter what level.
Yeah. How important is time management when it comes to being a student athlete? Keyword: student first, athlete second.
It's extremely important. Everybody gets the same 24 hours in a day. But when you're a student athlete, you have to sacrifice, free time, to be successful.
Yeah.
You got, 2 hours of, 2-3 hours of practice, 2 hours in the weight room. You got, multiple hours of class.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have all those hours of studying and work outside of class. So, it really begins to add up. And then in some cases, you got to work too.
Yeah.
So, being able to know, how to efficiently, manage your time, that's huge. If you're being inefficient with studying, or you're spending your time doing other things like playing video games or going out, or like, you're gonna find yourself falling behind, and then the schoolwork doesn't stop coming just because you're falling behind. It's so important to be able to stay ahead, and you're only going to be able to stay ahead as if you manage your time and effectively use it.
Athletes and social media, have at it.
I mean, just be intelligent. I mean, it takes very little intelligence to like not do something stupid on social media. I mean, if you give it just 2 seconds of thought, I mean, I think a lot of stupid stuff can be avoided. I mean, don't get caught up in like hype or trying to be cool or anything like that. I mean, personally, I think really only bad things come from social media. But I mean, just give it thought before you post it, because understand that whatever you post is going to have some type of consequences, whether it be positive or negative. But it's most likely going to be negative.
Yeah. So we got nervousness in approaching sports and life.
Well, I think first, like when it comes to nervousness, I think it's important to know that like being nervous is natural. Like I know, like for me, going into a game, like before the game, I was always a little bit nervous, just because you want to do good, you want to succeed, you want to you don't want to fail. But then, like for me at least, when the game started, like I was fine. Like it was just leading up to it, or even for school, like going into a test, or having a project due, or even in speech class, having a speech to go do, and it's like you're always going to have like nerves or whatever. But I think that you could use that as a good thing, because if you're nervous about something, well, for one, it means that you care. You don't get nervous about something you don't care about, and just understanding that there's nothing wrong with being nervous. It's it's a natural emotion, and yeah, I mean, I just use it to your advantage. I mean, use it to make you better, to where you want to be more prepared and better at something, so you can be more confident going into it.
Great. Grades. It's just as simple as that.
I mean, grades it's the most important part of being a student athlete. I mean, if you don't have good enough grades, you ain't playing. So no matter how good you are, no matter how much work you're willing to put in on the court or in the weight room, or to get better, if you ain't taking care of the business in the classroom, you ain't playing. And I mean, I know every team that I've been on, I think except one, we've had people ineligible or miss games, due to grades in some capacity. I mean, it's just as simple as that. It's the most important part of being a college, athlete.
Yeah. So last segment we got is trophy time, as always. It's all yours.
Okay, so I graduated from Judson University with a marketing degree. I had a couple certifications with digital marketing and one other one, social media marketing. I probably had like a 2.8 GPA. Fell a little bit, my senior year after the season ended. But I got my own business, roofing business, with my dad. So I got that going, and just seeing where life kind of goes from there, and not really forcing anything, but trying to make some stuff happen. So.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. You give us the details on that.
The name of the company is Four Seasons Roofing and Siding, and we do work from anywhere between Streamwood and Dixon.
Okay.
So it covers a very wide area.
Okay. So you said Four Seasons Roofing, right?
Yep, Four Seasons Roofing and Siding.
Okay. All right.